In your travels, you've encountered the Indian diaspora and you've been very involved with them globally. What is the contribution that the Indian diaspora can make to the world? What do you see the Indian diaspora achieving worldwide?
Indians usually do very well economically wherever they go. And the reason is because we are hardworking, we are creative, we're innovative, we work with each other as a group, so we support each other and help each other. That obviously helps us to progress, which is great. Obviously, people who leave India don't leave India to come and do badly, they come to do well. So obviously they do well. The challenge is, how do we prevent ourselves from making the mistakes we did in Africa, as a result of which we were kicked out, and the mistakes that we made in Myanmar and today's Burma, as a result of which we were kicked out. And I can go on and on. There have been many countries where we went and did very well, and then we were kicked out. And the reason was that we were not perceived as being good citizens, we were not perceived as being really national, we were not perceived as contributing to the country, we were perceived as simply making money for ourselves, and that's where our interests and concerns stopped. Now, I'm glad to say that in the United States, over the last 20, 30 years, people have, whether we learned from that lesson or because the United States is a very different kind of society, actually begun to make a contribution. And this contribution is political, it's cultural, and so on, which is great. And in sports and TV and media, which is great. The challenge, I think, is, as Indians living in the West, what is our relationship to India, our country of origin, and what is our responsibility for India as our country of origin? Because all of us studied, well, those of us who studied in India, studied as a result of the Indian taxpayer paying money, which we benefited from. So we have some responsibility back to India. A lot of this expresses itself as unthinking support for nationalist causes. And a lot of it expresses itself as really, at the end of the day, self-interested moves. Because if I donate money to a particular political party, whichever it is, I can then get close to the leaders of that political party, which means I can then get benefits from my company or for myself as a businessman. So if you ignore that side of it, you have to say, what am I getting involved in India for? And in India, there's a lot to work for in terms of poverty alleviation, in terms of gender equality, in terms of human rights, in terms of actual progress of the country as a whole, in terms of environmental care and concern, in terms of sorting out the political system and the distortions and corruption and problems like that in the political system. There's a huge amount to be done. So India is doing very well in some areas, but in other areas it has not really made as much progress as we would like or as we would think had taken place. So the thing that drives me, the thing that interests me most, is how people who are in the West can engage with India in a way that's constructive and helpful and positive and human and humane, and not something that is either merely self-interested or something which is merely uncritically reinforcing things in India which may not be really humane at the end of the day.